Imagine waking up to this headline: China has invaded the United States. Not a cyber attack, not an economic clash, but a full-scale, boots-on-the-ground invasion. Could it even happen? And if it did, what would America and the world look like the next morning? Wars are often fought in distant lands. Americans have long believed their homeland was beyond reach. Protected by vast oceans, armed with unmatched military might, the United States has not faced a foreign invasion since 1812. But history teaches us one lesson again and again: no power is untouchable forever. Today, China fields the world's largest standing army, a navy that now surpasses America's in sheer number of vessels, and a technological edge growing sharper each year. So let us ask, if China attempted the unthinkable, an invasion of the United States, what would it look like? Could it succeed? And what would the world look like afterward? To understand this scenario, we must start with the obvious. Invading the United States is unlike invading any other nation. The Pacific Ocean alone is a vast, hostile barrier. It stretches nearly 6,000 miles between China's coast and California. China would need to transport millions of troops, thousands of tanks, armored vehicles, and enough supplies to feed, fuel, and arm them across an ocean patrolled by the most powerful navy in human history. On the surface, it seems impossible. But wars are not decided by geography alone. They are decided by capability, timing, and will. China's modern military is designed with one goal above all others: to challenge U.S. dominance in the Pacific. It commands over 2 million active soldiers, the largest standing army in the world. Its navy has grown to more than 350 ships, including advanced destroyers, submarines, and aircraft carriers. Its arsenal includes long-range ballistic missiles, so-called carrier killers, designed to strike U.S. naval groups before they can get close. And then, there is cyber warfare. China possesses one of the most advanced cyber armies in existence, capable of targeting America's power grids, satellites, and communication networks. But for all of this power, projecting force across oceans and onto American soil remains the ultimate challenge. In reality, China has no reason to launch such an invasion. The risks outweigh the rewards. Its power today lies in economics, trade, and influence, not conquest. But history is full of wars no one thought would happen until they did. No one expected Japan to strike Pearl Harbor in 1941. No one believed Russia would invade Ukraine in 2022. So while unlikely, imagining this scenario forces us to confront what war between two nuclear superpowers could truly mean. It begins not with ships, but with silence. American satellites flicker. Power grids fail. The internet slows, then crashes. Air traffic halts. Banking systems collapse. A massive cyber offensive, launched from Beijing, cripples America's ability to communicate, coordinate, and respond. At the same moment, waves of ballistic missiles strike across the Pacific. U.S. bases in Guam, Okinawa, and Hawaii burn. Airfields are cratered. Carrier groups scramble under attack. In hours, America's forward presence in the Pacific is shattered. The homeland suddenly feels exposed. China mobilizes the largest amphibious fleet in history. Cargo ships, troop carriers, and naval escorts surge across the ocean. It would take weeks to cross, but every hour risks interception. U.S. submarines stalk beneath the waves. Long-range bombers from Alaska and California prepare ambushes. The Pacific becomes the most contested battlefield in human history. If even a fraction of China's invasion force reaches the U.S. West Coast, the real war begins. Picture this: San Francisco Bay, Los Angeles Harbor, or Seattle's coastline erupting under missile fire. Chinese troops storm ashore, establishing fragile beachheads. Drones swarm overhead. Tanks roll onto American highways. Yet the challenge is immense. Unlike Normandy in 1944, America's coastlines are fortified not just by geography but by millions of armed civilians, National Guard units, and rapid military mobilization. Every city becomes a fortress. Every road, a battlefield. Once on American soil, China would face an enemy unlike any other, a nation of over 330 million people, armed with more firearms than the rest of the world combined. State militias, veterans, and civilians would rise in resistance. The United States military, though wounded in the Pacific, would rally at home with unmatched industrial capacity. Factories would roar back to life. Aircraft and tanks would roll out in staggering numbers. America's nuclear arsenal, over 5,000 warheads strong, would loom over every decision. China's initial gains could collapse into a grinding, unwinnable war of occupation. Beyond the battlefield, the world holds its breath. Would NATO come to America's defense? Would Russia exploit the chaos? Would nuclear weapons be used in desperation? The global economy collapses overnight. Trade freezes. Markets crash. Billions of lives across the world are shaken by a conflict that rewrites the 21st century. In the end, one truth remains: no foreign power has the capability to conquer the United States. The oceans are too vast, the people too resilient, the military too powerful. China may rise, America may stumble, but a full-scale invasion of the U.S. homeland would almost certainly fail at catastrophic cost for both sides. Yet this scenario is not about probability, it is about possibility. It reminds us how fragile peace truly is, how a miscalculation, a single spark, could ignite a fire neither side can control. And it asks us to confront the unthinkable. What happens when the two most powerful nations on Earth collide? In our imagination, China's invasion of the United States ends not in conquest, but in devastation. Millions dead, cities destroyed, the global order shattered beyond repair. It is a war no one could win, which is precisely why it must never be fought. But history does not always follow the path of reason. So we are left with the question: if the unthinkable is possible, what else might history still hold in its shadows? Next time, we ask another question. What if the Confederacy won the American Civil War?